Hello guys, Fearmaky here. We're bringing you another guide on the White Mage. This time it will be a in-depth guide on how the items, your pet, and your talent tree and your skills work. So let's get into that. Um, all of this information comes from experience from playing the game on duos, threes, fours, as well as friends in the community, one being in Hans, who also goes by Maltok on the stream. He's the #1 White Mage right now on the season, and we're always in talks with each other about what's best, what's optimal, and what works, what doesn't. Obviously, he's at wormhole 913. I believe is the highest wormhole in the season throughout all classes. So his opinion and his thoughts, obviously, to me personally, matters a lot. Has a lot of validity to it because of that. Nobody can say that they've done what he's done so far. But anyways, with that being said, let's dive in to the build, and hopefully this helps out the community. I know you guys asked for this as well on the YouTube video, so let's do it. I already went over all the gear on a separate video, so I don't have to do that again. Okay, but we're going to go in depth as to what the actual skills do in the gear. So the thinking cap provides you with a mana shield, and these rune words can range from level 1 all the way through level 20, level 20 being the max. Mana shield on the thinking cap gives you a damage absorption based on your maximum mana. Alright, so if you can see here, I'll equip the mana shield and I have 85% damage reduction based on my maximum mana. And that's what the thinking cap provides. Alright, in the previous video I had recommended using Moonshard as the best in slot. It is the best in slot, especially once you re-roll it and get it to 104% plus or 115% being the max. It will pound for pound be better than the rainbow. But you can use the rainbow for now until you build one. I actually had a rainbow 2 weeks ago, as you guys seen on stream, and I ended up selling it by mistake and on a state of panic before my friends told me I could buy it back. I alt F4'd and lost my rainbow. But they're not that hard to build. They're pretty easy, so you could build one and upgrade it. But that doesn't really bring much. But just in case somebody's wondering, why am I using the rainbow as opposed to the moonshard? Because at 100% rainbow and moonshard, the rainbow is better, but the moonshard will outscale it once you increase the quality. And I built the rainbow, upgraded my 98 moonshard, and I ended up bricking it. It went back down to 50%, so I sold it. Alright, so that's why I'm not using it now. Anyways, moving on. Sovereignty. This is your highest damaging item that you can wear, hands down. It provides the rule of order skill. This skill again goes from level 1 to 20. I have a level 19. And what this does is it gives you a 0.005% damage based off of every 10 to 15,000 mana that you have. Alright? So if you look at the wiki here, for example, that's exactly what it is. Rule of order. Every 10 to 15,000 mana gives you 0.005 of your max mana as additional magic damage. And that is huge. Okay? So you want that rule of order to be as high as possible, so you can dish out the maximum amount of damage. So while you're building the sovereignty, always favor a high rule of order. The chest, Magister's Robe, is your best in slot, especially if you can get up to 115 quality. I got this at 113. Mathematically, pound for pound, a enigmatic with magic percentage on it, perfectly rolled with the level 20 spell break, would give you more damage on single target. But when it comes to trash clear, AoE clear with your Dark Oath, Magister's Robe is the best. It'll give you faster speed clears in the wormhole. It'll give you more comfortable clear, And if you wanted to swap out at the boss for the enigmatic for just a raw single target damage, you could. Um, but hopefully in the future in other seasons they won't allow you to swap gear in and out. So in that case, you wouldn't be able to do that. You would essentially want to use Magister's Robe to give you faster clear, and then you can take whatever time you want with the boss. But in my opinion, Magister's Robe is still the best. Anyways, Arcane Bastion, Spell Bulwark, level 1 through 20. I got a level 19. What this does is gives you huge survivability, just like your Thinking Cap. This gives you 100 to 200% damage buff on a 10% block chance. So when you block, there's a chance that this buff will go up and give you 100 to 200% damage absorption based off your maximum mana as well. All right, so that's the reason why. I mean, in addition to that, it also gives you a shit ton of mana and other stats, which will boost your damage extremely high. But it also gives you survivability. So it's a best in slot shield because of that. Soul Braces. The Soul Spurn, not really that great. You could double up on your action bar. I've done it a couple of times, especially now with the latest patch where they nerfed the stacking of Soul Spurn. This isn't as viable to put in your action bar. I don't, as far as more damage goes. But you want this to be high as well if you want more mitigation and more toughness. But these gloves are best in slot because, again, their mana percentage is just so high on them. Plus the additional talents makes it really well. The Viper Skin, I got it, since the last video up to 112% quality. And that is the reason why it's best in slot, because you can continuously roll the dice on it once you have it maxed out, giving you, a lot more damage. Okay? Then the other rings are self-explanatory. The Dakota's Wedding Band just gives you a ton of energy and mana per second sustained, 2012 stats. The Wizard Potion is the best because of the mana percentage it provides, as well as the mana regen, and which keeps ticking back your Dark Oath damage that's eaten right back up to 100%, giving you consistent damage. And your Arcane Marches as well, the energy, the 46% energy and 9% mana. And as well, you can roll this to 115% quality, therefore making it the best in slot boots. All right. But the major item was the Thinking Cap for the mana shield, the Runeword for the absorption, the Sovereignty, which scales huge. The more mana you have, the more damage you deal. And the Soul Braces, if you want more survivability, you could put that on your action bar. The Soul Spurn, I'll show you here, which is this. But, I opt to use Restless Spirits because it uses more DPS for now. But you definitely want the gloves for the mana. All right? Now moving on to your pet. On your pet, you definitely want to use Poison Ivy, okay, with Dow runes, D-A-U, to give you attack speed. You want to stack that as much as possible. I believe Poison Ivy comes inherently with level 20 multi-shot. So you want that. So you're always firing multiple arrows and stacking the debuff quickly. And I'll show you what debuff that is. I personally use the bucket because of the XP gain. If after playing a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 30 days, 2 months, 3 months, this will be the best in slot helm because experience gain and hero level gain is by far the most powerful thing in the game. Each level gives you more energy, makes you more powerful. All right. I'm sure one could argue there's a better helm for more attack speed, slots that you can slot in Dow runes to make your enigmatic debuff be up there, a lot more often. But in the long run, you're going to be behind on XP gain because you're not using a bucket with Sal runes. So, if you want to do a lot more damage in 1 week, you could go a different helm. I wish I had that helm off the top of my head and was prepared, but, just doing this off the top of my head here. But I would use that. The chest, the enigmatic chest with a level 20 spell break is the best chest that you can use on your pet by far. This debuff here is 250% damage added to the target. Okay, there is no better chest to put on your pet than this. And mathematically, if you had a magic damage chest percentage and magic damage and all maxed out with 20 spell break, you would use this chest and then use the Shroud of Elements on your pet with the level 20 elemental break. And yes, single target, this would yield the most damage in solo. But because the chances of getting that is like the chances of finding a angelic in the game, it's not realistic. So, and then again, just like I said before, trash clear in the wormhole will also be slower. So, you know, you got to make that decision yourself. But mathematically, yes, using the enigmatic, putting the Shroud of Elements on your pet would yield the most single target damage. I wouldn't recommend it. I know Maltok wouldn't recommend it either. But you guys, you know, you have the information, you do with it what you want. I'm using the enigmatic on my pet, and I'm using the Magister's robe on myself. It's just how I run it, okay? And that is it. The spell break, okay, is 250% damage added to the target. It breaks the target's resistances, giving you 250% damage. And when your pet attacks, as you can see, it stacks up to 10 times. And right there is that 9 stacks, 10 stacks, 250%. And that's all coming from the enigmatic chest. Okay? So the skills you want to use on your action bar is, well, let's go over the skills first. So this is the talent tree. Okay? This is the build that you want here to run wormholes. You have to put a point in curse, 1 point in dark magic, 1 point in restless spirits in order to keep going down the tree. I max out fanatism, and the reason for that is to give your pet the 65% attack speed to stack the spell break debuff faster on the target, therefore giving you 100% uptime, if not more, and dishing out a lot more damage. So you want this, okay, 100%. We got 1 point in soul spurn, we have a point in martyr, and we have 20 points in Dark Oath. This is your #1 damaging ability on the White Mage by far. It scales with mana, toggles an aura that applies a curse, and drains the health of nearby enemies based on your maximum mana. This will drain your mana while active. That is why mana-based items on the White Mage is huge. Okay, but you want to max this out definitely, and you always want to run this aura on your action bar. And you also want Malediction, which gives 35% damage resistance to the targets, giving you a flat 35% damage increase. All right. We go 1 point Heavenly Fire to go down the tree, 1 point in Benediction, so you can get the overflow healing stacks, giving you 16% damage. We put 11 points in Chain Lightning for the AoE trash clear. I put 1 point in Absorb Shield just for the extra survivability, okay, when it procs. And we put 20 points in Healing Zone, because the more you heal, the higher Benediction stacks you get, the harder your Chain Lightning hits. That's how that works. It synergizes together, okay? You heal, your 100% health, over healing gets applied to Benediction. Benediction gets eaten up by Chain Lightning when you're close to the target, and it deals more damage, okay? So we put 11 points in Lightning. And we have 1 point in Mana Orb. And this is an orb that lasts 10 seconds, and it's just free damage, and it pulses. You can allow Benediction to stack to 3 or 4 stacks. The game's buggy. It's supposed to be 3 stacks. Sometimes it goes to 4. Who knows what's going to happen next week? But yeah, you want to have 1 point in Mana Orb to get the free damage. And I'll give you some tips on why. Moving on with the talents, your hero level points. When you're just farming Inferno 5, you want to put 50 points in Scavenger to get the extra 5% ruby drop rates, and then the rest in Infinite Wisdom. When you're doing wormholes, you want to put everything into Infinite Wisdom. Okay? Energy gives you mana and mana regen, which in essence buffs your damage and survivability. Alright? And then your Mercenary, that's stacking your spell break debuff from the Enigmatic. You want to put 1 point in critical attack, kneecap, 1 point in feint, scatter shot, 6 points in swarm of arrows, but your biggest talent is multi-shot. You want to max out multi-shot. you want to max out rapid fire for the attack speed, and you want to max out piercing shots, okay, to apply debuffs on multiple targets at once while he's shooting. And then you put the last points in swarm of arrows, okay? And that is it for the talents. Now, the skills you want to run in your action bar is Healing Zone, so you can proc Benediction, okay? Which is right there. It's at 3 stacks. It's 28 million damage. The second one that I run with is Soul Spurn for the survivability, okay? And then the third I'm running with recently is Restless Spirits. You can change this to Soul Spurn from the Soul Braces gloves for more survivability, all right? But I opt to run Restless Spirits for more damage because I'm mainly playing duos or in groups with the Lancer. So, and I love to play dangerously, you know, and I don't mind dying since it's softcore. So this yields more damage, and I'm all about damage. But if you want to go more survival, you can run a Soul Spurn from the Soul Braces. Especially if you have a high Soul Spurn on the gloves, it'll give you more survivability. The fourth skill, okay, this is where min-max and endgame comes in wormholes. So essentially, this is the skills you want. You would put Dark Oath on your action bar here, which is your highest damaging one. So you would run that, and then you would just spam, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, or you can lock it with your Numlock and have it auto cast for you as you're running and auto attacking, okay? But what I do when I start a rift is I'll switch over. Let me click over here. I'll switch over to the Mana Shield from the Thinking Cap for the survivability. And I'll proc the Mana Shield to give me 85% damage reduction. Then I right click and toggle immediately to the Dark Oath Aura. And then I toggle the Aura on for my highest AoE damage. And then I toggle immediately to Mana Orb. The way the game currently works, you don't need to have auras on your action bar in order for it to be active. So you can easily toggle the Mana Shield, toggle the Dark Oath, and then switch to the Mana Orb. And then you're running the wormhole or whatever content you're doing at the highest possible damage you can have on your action bar while also having active auras. You don't have to do this. This is something I do, and then sometimes it could be a pain in the ass, and sometimes between switching between the skills and the wormhole, you end up dying a lot because something is attacking you and you're not casting your other abilities because you can't switch an ability while the other ones is also auto casting. So it can be a major inconvenience. So if you don't want to deal with switching, you know, you can just run with both auras on your action bar, the Mana Shield Aura and then the Dark Oath Aura, and you're covered. And all you would do is just spam heals and Soul Spurn, okay? But if you want to min-max, you could do this that I'm doing and then run the Mana Orb, and that's an additional free damage on the dummy. And just to give you a perspective on what this build in the hero level, in the mercenary, and all the gear debuffs working in tandem with each other, this is the damage output that it will deal. I had this request on the video. I'm sorry here. I had Numlock off, so it wasn't auto casting. So we'll go again. But without Numcast auto casting the skills, I still did 621 million damage. But let's go again. Keep in mind, the Mana Shield's up, Dark Oath is up, everything, all the auras are up. And now I'm auto casting everything except the Mana Orb. I'm not auto casting that, I do that manually. So 795 million. And it all depends on the proc debuffs that your pet's also putting on the target, right? If you get lucky, you can get up to 1 billion damage or more with this. I forgot to fire the orb there. 884 million. We'll do one more test. You guys got the gist of it. The highest I've seen was 1.1 billion damage. Again, and it's all dependent on the debuff staying up on the target 100%. You know, but that's the, and also having perfect rolled items and quality items, 982 million. You know, and with each hero level that you gain, each quality item that you build up, you know, the more damage you're going to deal. Alrighty. So that is it for that. I was going to do a speed build with different gear. I'll do that later on a different video. But we're going to end the video there. Okay. And just so, just to end it, to auto cast these abilities, you go to your options, controls, go to your keyboard, you bind skills 1 through 4, you bind it to your Numlock keys. Okay. And once you do that, the way to auto cast it is while holding down the button on your Numlock. You hold down 1, for example, and then press Numlock and then let it go. Now it will auto cast it. Okay. If you click off your screen or anywhere else, the auto cast will stop. And that's how you do that. Alrighty. We're going to end the video there. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I think I've covered everything. The gear, the talents. Yeah. I think that's it, man. As long as you do that, you guys are good. You guys should be good to go. If there's any questions or concerns, please put them in the video and we'll address them on the next one. The next video will be about speed and speed farming Inferno 5 and going fast. And we'll give some tips on maps and all that. Alright? And what I do and what other players do to make rubies and just farm efficiently. You guys have a good one. Roll deep. Peace.